So we are at episode 5 of Sanrio Danshi, and we're nearly halfway through with this series. It is 12 episodes. If it's not, then it is 13, and I'll correct it when I look up the information. But so far in each episode, it was dedicated to each character, and in this week's episode, which left off on a cliffhanger, so it's a two-part actually, we are getting to know the characters of Nishimiya and Minamoto. Now, we seen throughout at least the past 4 episodes how they made little entrances, they made little cameos and such, but really these 2 episodes are going to be, episodes 5 and 6 are going to focus on these 2 characters, especially with their Sanrio character. For Nishimiya, it will be the little twin stars, and with Minamoto, it is Cinnamon. So in this episode, which is going to continue with next week's, to me, it reminded me of episodes 1 and 2. And if you remember it, or you don't, and you need a little refresher, remember, it was basically focusing on Hasegawa Kota as, he started his new year to second year. And we remember he was denying his past because he was being made fun of for liking a girly item, which was Pom Pom Pudding. So for the fact that he ignored Pom Pom Pudding, he also ignored his grandmother, and we saw, before he can actually go back to talk to her, she died, and it took him some years later to actually accept a part of himself that actually liked Pom Pom Pudding. So now he is more comfortable with his self, with his character, and he can openly admit such things. Now, if you take that same context and put into this episode with Nishimiya, it's almost the same thing. The only difference will be in terms of the environment these 2 grew up in, and where their circumstances are different. So in Nishimiya's case, he grew up in a household where it was mainly dominated by females. We don't really see a father figure there, so I'm assuming, either that's away at work or something of that case, but he had his mother and 3 older sisters. And for the fact that he grew up in a household that was, the population was mainly female, they treated him as like their precious child. So they dressed him up and they treated him very girly, gave him girly stuff. And for a boy at a very young age, it doesn't seem like nothing. But the older he got, and if you take into consideration for the fact of his physical appearance, he's small, he's slender, and the fact that he has a very feminine-like face, the older he got, there were people that would be talking about him and saying that he looks like a girl, and they wouldn't take him seriously. So now the fact that he's ages 15 to 16, he's in high school, he thinks he needs to push all of that behind him and start taking on stuff that regular guys would do. So as we clearly saw in this episode, once he was hearing like Hasegawa, Yoshino, and Mizuno were talking about how about the Sanrio products and if they go back to the store to buy some, and he was getting irritated by their talk. And like I said, it's reflection of back in episode 1. So it's not more that he's angry at them, it's more he's angry at himself because he's trying to deny a part of himself that that likes these type of things, and he's trying to become something that he is not. Now we have where Minamoto intervenes into the fight, because it was going to get into a fight because he was kind of making fun and was dissing on, Hasegawa and Yoshino, and then we have where Mizuno was about to actually fight him, but Minamoto intervened and put a stop to it. So he was talking to Nishimiya and trying to get to the root of the problem as to why he acted the way he did. So he managed to be able to get him to say that the next day or so he and the others will be able to apologize to each other and make amends and bygones be bygones. But unfortunately something happened. So we clearly saw from the other episodes that Nishimiya has admiration towards Minamoto because he deems him as what he wants to project himself as: manly, masculine, strong, right? And what he saw actually gave him the shock of his life, and actually right now he's pretty much hating Minamoto. So we know these 5 characters, like the Sanrio characters: Hello Kitty, the twin stars Pom Pom Pudding, Melody Chan, and Hello Kitty. So he came to find out within Minamoto's student handbook that he has an annual pass to Sanrio Pearl Land, and his Sanrio yearly pass has a picture of him and also Cinnamon. And this guy liked a Sanrio character, and he could not believe his eyes. He's like, you deceived me, and you weren't actually trying to help me. You were making fun of me, along with the fact that you were agreeing with them. And so it leads to this whole confusion and all this drama, which will continue into next week's episode. So by next week's episode, hopefully we see where Nishimiya actually apologizes first for his actions. Not only that, come to terms that there is nothing wrong with your interests, and no one should be able to judge you based on your interests. That was like the overall theme. That's actually the overall theme for this entire show. Like, don't care what nobody has to say about your interests or whatever you may like, because at the end of the day, it's something that you care for, and you shouldn't allow people and their opinions try and deter you from that. So next week's episode is going to continue to that, and we're going to get more information about these 2 characters. And I believe by next week we'll be finished with the character introductions. And then if you remember from episode 1, they kind of showed off like a medieval play. So I'm guessing for the rest of the half of the series, we'll see where these characters are trying to get along with each other now, because now they introduce each other, they got through what their interests are, so they'll become like closer friends with each other, and then get involved with that play, and that will be the conclusion of Sanrio Danshi. So if you saw this week's episode of Sanrio Danshi episode 5, do tell me your thoughts down below in the comment section about how you felt about it. How do you feel about Nishimiya's character now that you're really introduced to him? And how do you feel about Minamoto? If you didn't like him before, how do you feel about him now in this episode? And the links are in the description box, so you guys go check that out. And I'm Kimmy Chan of Anime Legends Podcast, and I will see you guys later. Bye!